take a look at the Sanders campaign, I mean, it really hasn't been discussed as much as it should be, but it was a pretty astonishing achievement. I mean, for well over a century, American elections have been pretty much bought. I mean, the evidence is just overwhelming. The person who's done most of the work on this is Tom Ferguson, political scientist at UMass Boston, used to be at MIT. He's got a book called Golden Rule, which studies the role just simply of campaign funding on outcome of elections and policies going way back into the 19th century, right through the New Deal and so on. And it's startling results. He has a recent paper that came out a couple months ago looking at congressional elections from about 1980 up till the present, and just comparing campaign funding with electability. And it's kind of like a straight line. You don't get results like that in the social sciences. Well, and it's nothing new. I mean, back in 1895, there was a great campaign manager then named Mark Hanna, and he was asked once, what's necessary to run a successful political campaign? And he said, well, you need two things. The first one is money, and I've forgotten what the second one is. You know? That was 1895. It's gotten way more extreme since, and by now it's out of sight. Okay, after over a century of this, somebody comes along who nobody ever heard of. He uses a scare word, socialist, you know. He has no funding, nothing from the corporate sector, and nothing from wealthy people. The media totally against him, almost either ridiculing him or dismissing him. He would easily have won the Democratic Party nomination if it hadn't been for the party shenanigans to keep him out. That's a pretty amazing development. And what it shows is that the institutions they look powerful, but they collapse as soon as the population becomes engaged. They're basically very weak. Actually, that's an insight that goes back hundreds of years. One of the first modern works on politics is by David Hume, one great philosopher, founder of classical liberalism. He has a study called, I think, First Principles of Government. And he opens it by saying that there's a strange paradox in governments. He says, in every government, whether military run, more or less popular, like England at the time, he says there's a strange thing. People obey their rulers. And why do they? Because power is in the hands of the governed. And if they want, they can take it. And he says, by what miracle is this achieved? He says, only by control of opinion. If you can make people feel that they're powerless and hope and everything's futile and they can't do anything, okay, then they'll obey. If not, they don't have to obey. And that's much more true in pretty free countries like ours than, say, a military dictatorship. But the paradox is real, and it's in people's hands to overcome it. And the Sanders campaign is one dramatic illustration of that.